we'll see how to work with browser based application. Browser based or web based. We call it as a browser based application or web based application. So now generally, so any Windows application or a desktop application, we will have three modes, right? Those are Win32 and accessibility and region. Same modes we have for browser based. Along with these three things, we have an extra mode called HTML. We have an extra mode called HTML mode. This is your default mode for your browser based application. By default, we have to use HTML mode for browser based application, like Win32 is your default mode for Windows application, right? The same way HTML is your default mode for browser based application. And if you want to work with any browser based application, remember one rule: your browser always it will work with Internet Explorer. By default, BluePrism has been configured with Internet Explorer. It will work properly with Internet Explorer only. So it is not going to work properly with Chrome. It is not going to work properly with Firefox or whatever it may be, any other process. So normally it will not support. It will support Internet Explorer. And at the same time, your browser zoom should be 100%. Your browser zoom should be 100%. Then only it will work properly. Then only we can able to spy properly. Otherwise, it will not work. And sometimes always, so cross check your screen resolution also. Screen resolution, it should be 100% or recommended. It should be recommended or it should be 100%. Always you have to cross check this when you are working with so browser based application or web based application. Now any application, before we are automating, so what we are going to do, what we have to do is we need to go through that application. Then only we can able to understand what all the things we can able to automate, right? The same way here also we will see one browser based application. For example here, so let me open Google. Now Google is your application. We are working with a Google. If you are automating Facebook is your application. Or if you are automating any bank portal, then that is your application. For example HSBC or ICICbank.com, whatever it may be, that one will be your application. Okay, so now Google application, if you observe this here, see this, what all the things we can able to perform. We can write something, we can click on Google search, or we can click on I am feeling lucky, right? When I click on I am feeling lucky, what is happening? It displaying all the doodles each and every day. It displayed in your home page, Google home page, right? Here all these are the doodles what it has been displayed. From these doodles we need to search specifically Mother's Day. Just a minute, by default we will make it as a English. Here we need Mother's Day. We need to search this. After that, again click on search button, and it is going to display all the Mother's Day doodles here. From this we need to capture this date, which Mother's Day doodles it is displaying first here. This date we need to capture. Assume that this is our requirement. This is our requirement. We need to go to the doodles and then we need to search, and then the first displayed so Mother's Day doodles we need to capture it. So this is your requirement. Okay, then so what we are going to do here, how many options we have performed here. First, initially we clicked on a google.com to launch. It means we need to create a application by using application modular. Okay, and then after that I am feeling lucky, this is one element. After that here we are typing Mother's Day. Again we need to capture this is another element. Again we need to click on this button, search button. Again this is another element. After the search we are going to pick the date. This is another element. After that, closing your application. So these many actions we need to create in this specific application, right? So now we'll see how to work with this, how to create a application. So now let me close this. Come to application modular, where we need to create a objects. We have to create object in Object Studio. Now go to here, right click, create a object. We'll give the name Google Doodles, and next, double click on that. Now first what we need to do, we need to create a application, right? Go to the application modular, click on that application modular, and we are trying to create. Now application name is this one, by default it will take, and click on next. Observe this, which application it is, browser based application. We are trying to work with browser based application. Click on the browser based application and click on next. When you click on next, observe this, first option is browser is already running, or next option is browser that has to be launched from an executable file. Always it has to launch from an executable file. Now click next. Observe which one it has taken, Internet Explorer. Internet, by default it has taken Internet Explorer. See this iExplorer.exe. If you want to try with Chrome or another one also, you can use that particular path, but you can't able to spy properly. So that's the thing. So that's why by default it will be configured with Internet Explorer. Next, and what it is asking, observe this, please enter the URL of your start page. Which application it is? You want to work with which application? We need to work with google.com, right? So enter google.com. Okay, next. So remaining everything will be next. Only the difference is, our Windows based and browser based, we are checking here browser based application, and then we are giving the URL. There we are giving the executable file path, here we are giving the URL. Okay, when you created an application, what it will do, it will create a main element. See this main element is as already it has been created, right? Okay, so now click OK. For the main element is created, we need to use a launch option. Right click, rename, launch action, click OK. We need to use navigate stage, click on link, double click, use main element, and then we have to use launch. Okay, click OK. So if you want to test it, what we have to do, we need to run this, right? Okay, so let me run, and then observe this, what is happening. See this, did you observe? No target application has been set, because we created application modular, but did we launch? No, we didn't launch this one, right? So must and should, we need to launch your application by using application modular, then only we can able to work with that. Now click on launch button. See this, when you are launching, it's launching, and so by default what we need to do when we are launching, we need to use wait option. We have to use a wait option here. Now because it's taking some time here, so we have to use wait. Okay, so we will see that later. So now if you reset, once it's launched, right, once we launch through Internet Explorer, it has been launched. Now let me close this. Now if you run this again, Now it will work properly. See this? It's launched. Okay. Now minimize this. Now once it is launched, then what we need to do? We need to click on here. We need to click on I am feeling lucky. So go here. So go to that application modular. Now create a element feeling lucky. Identify. Come to that application. Observe this. It can able to identify each and every option. You can able to capture the images as well. See this? Each and everything. So now we need to create an element for this. Control left click. Now observe the options. By default, when you are picking the attributes for Windows application, what we have done, we unchecked wherever you don't have values, right? Wherever you don't have values, we unchecked. So apart from this, we need to remember one more thing. We need to uncheck parent URL. Parent URL, remember this, by default you need to uncheck parent URL. So why we need to uncheck parent URL? So we'll came to know so in the next coming example. Okay, so we need to uncheck parent URL. That's a must and should we need to do. Remember this. We need to uncheck wherever we don't have values for the checked attributes. At the same time, we need to uncheck parent URL. So let it be. So now, sorry, highlight. It's highlighting. Sorry. This another one. Highlight. It's highlighting properly. Okay. So after that, we created a element. We need to create a action for that. Create new. After the launch, this one is feeling lucky. In feeling lucky, what we need to do? We need to click, right? We need to click. So we have to use navigate. Mouse click. We have to use navigate. Double click. Feeling lucky element. And then click center. See this? Click center. And click OK. Now reset. If you want to run this, just run. It has to click feeling lucky. Observe this. It clicked and then it is displaying all the doodles here, right? Okay, so after that what we need to do, we need to type something here in Mother's Day, right? So we need to again spy that. Go to application modular, create an element that is for type in search box, right? Type in search box. We are trying to type in search box. Identify. Go to application. See this one. Here we need to do that. Control left click. Come to this. Uncheck parent URL. Okay. So now again highlight. It's working. Now what we need to do here for in this element, we need to type. So we need to use right option here. Create an action for this. Type in. Type in search box. Click OK. What we need to do? We need to use right option. Give the link. Double click. Type in search box. And then value will be what we need to do. So we need to type, for example, Mother's Day. We need to type this. Click OK. And we will test it. Reset and run. Observe this. It's given the information here. Mother's Day it has typed. After that, what we need to do? We need to click on this search option. This one we need to click on this search option. Now come to this application modular, add a element, search option, identify, come to application, this one, right? Control left click. Observe this. Again we need to uncheck. Same thing, parent URL, and then where you don't have values. Okay. Now highlight. It's working fine. Click apply. Okay. And we need to create a action for this. Right click, new, search. Click OK. Again we are using navigate. Double click, search. Action will be click center. Click OK. Reset. Test it. Come to this series. It has been searched all the mother state. From this we need this date, right? This is your text information here. If you observe, this is the information text, but this is not a text. This is some other link, right? Okay. So now first we need to spy this again. Come to this application modular, add a element. This is for date, identify, application. See this? Can you able to identify only the specific date here? No, right? Okay, so together it is identifying. Okay, let it be. Take it. Control left click. Come to here. Sorry. Parent URL. Now highlight. Apply. Okay. Now we need to get the date from that particular window. So what we need to do, we need to read option. We have to use read option. Now use read, double click, date, and then see this, get current value. It means it will get the value from that particular text. It will get the value from the text, and then the text value it will be displayed into some other data item where you need to store that series. You can click here to store that value here. Click OK again. Now we'll run this. Reset, run. Now observe the date here. You can able to see that, right? Now here you can able to see the date. What is the date it is? So picking here. So now, so all the actions we created. So one thing we need to create is terminate. After all these things, what we need to by default terminate. We have to do that. Click OK, and then what? So we have to use navigate. Give the link. Double click on this. We have to use main element, and then we have to use terminate, and click OK. Now if you run this, it has to close. Now we have used, see this, the application has been terminated, right? It's not there, it has been terminated. So like this we can able to perform all the actions. Once we created all the actions, what we have to do, we have to publish. We need to publish all the actions, right? Okay, so we'll publish, and then we will see how to use that in a process view. Just a minute. Now we'll publish each and everything. Right click, publish, publish, and all we are publishing. Okay, once you publish, we need to save it. Okay, so by default, we need to remember one thing. After launch, must and should we have to use wait option. It's mandatory, right? So use wait option now. In this wait, we can use dynamic wait. Feeling lucky. What is the next element is feeling lucky, right? If it exists, then what it means by that? It has been launched properly. Then no need to wait for 5 seconds or 10 seconds. So you can come out from this. Observe this. Feeling lucky exists. So it means it has been launched properly. Then you can come out and then you can go for the next action. That's the meaning of this. Okay. So now save it. Save changes. Now we created all the actions in your object studio. Now we need to use that in our process studio. Now come to here, create a application in process studio, doodles 7, next, double click, action. What is the action name? First what we need to do, we need to launch. We need to launch one, and then object will be, so if you observe, see this, Google Doodles, and then launch. We launched it. After that launch, we need to click on feeling lucky. Again double click, feeling lucky, and then what is the business object name? Same, Google Doodles, then feeling lucky, and then click OK. So after clicking on a feeling lucky, then what we have to do after that? So we are typing something, right? Type in search box. So use business object name and then type in search box. After typing in search box, again we are clicking on a search button. So this is for search button, and then click on this doodles and then search button. Click OK, and the next will be after the search button, we are going to get the date here. Date. Again use doodles. So this one, from this we need a date. So after that we need to use terminate. Click terminate. Use. Then we have to use terminate. Now observe this, launch to feeling lucky. After that, from feeling lucky to click on type, and then after typing Mother's Day, we need to search. After that we are going to get the date. After that we need to terminate. After that we are going to end this. Okay, so here if you observe, whatever the date we are going to get in Object Studio, we need to use that in a Process Studio. Then what is the option we have? We need to create a output parameter. So right click on this, view action in Object Studio. Here the result we are getting. Here we need to create output parameter, then only we can able to see that in your Process Studio. Right? Just double click on this, create a output parameter for out, just give the name, this one, result will be value from this one, and click OK and save it. Always remember, if you've done any changes in your Object Studio, you need to save, and then if the changes you want to reflect into your Process Studio, you have to use refresh option. refresh is different, reset is different. Okay, now refreshed. Now double click on the date. Now you can able to see the date here. See this? We need to store it in this one. Okay. So now the date you can able to the date, whatever the date, so you are going to get it there. So you can able to see it here. Just right. So now if you run this, observe this. We are trying to run. It's launched. Let's click run on this day, and then it is going to give the date, and then it has been executed. See this? Without our interaction, so it has been create launched, and then it has been picked the something, right? So like this we can able to work with your browser based application. Almost all everything will be the same. So whatever you are going to do in your organizations also, you are going to do the same thing, but only the change will be your application. Remaining every option is same. You are going to create an application, you are going to create elements, you are going to create actions for that, and then based on the actions you are going to perform different options, and then you are going to use a wait option, and then based on your requirement you are going to implement different things in a sequence order, in a process way, right? So only your application will change. If maybe so here we worked with a Google, so maybe you have to work with some bank portals, maybe you have to work with some insurance portal like healthcare insurance portal, whatever it may be. You need to automate that, or any application you need to automate it. You need first remember we need to identify how many options we need to perform in a application. Then each and every option is separate application for us. Okay, the same thing, same again. So in next class also we are going to work with another browser based application. Then you can able to understand what exactly we are doing. So we'll go with a one live application. We will see that how to automate that. Then you can able to understand so what exactly we are doing by using this automation, and what is the main purpose of this. So automating this particular application we can able to understand. So these are the things. So how we have to work with this one. And one more thing, so did we discuss about dynamic attribute parameter, dynamic attribute and parameter when we are working in last class? So anyone? In last class we worked with Sri Vidya system, right? So to work with a calculator application. So in there we discuss dynamic attribute when we are spying, when that spying is happening for multiple elements, when it is highlighting for multiple properties, multiple elements, when you are highlighting, what we have done. So just a minute. Okay, I will give control to you. Zivida, can you share your system and then can you give me the control to me? Did we discussed? Okay, so like when to use dynamic attribute and when to use attribute, not that ordinal option. So I will show you. We'll discuss what it means by that. Can you share your screen? Okay, thank you. Just a minute. I'm sending the request for keypad and mouse control. Accept it. Thank you. I have a control now. Don't move your mouse. Okay. So here, So we worked with a calculator, right? Double click on the calculator application. Okay. So what we have done here, when we are working with application modular, observe this: button 9, multiply, and button 7, and then equal, and then result. For all these things, if you observe, only the change is your ordinal, and remaining all your properties is same. See this button 9. So only the property changing is only ordinal, and then button multiply. For this also only the change is ordinal, and remaining all the properties is same, because all the properties behavior is same, all the elements behavior is same in your calculator. There is no change. But so how you are differentiating? By using only ordinal, right? By using only ordinal. So instead of creating this n number of elements here, we can able to use dynamic attribute, and then we can able to use parameter, dynamic attribute and parameter. So let me show you so how to do that. We'll close it. Right click. We will create a new object for that. Dynamic calculator. Next, finish. Double click on this. Okay. So now application modular, we need to create a application. Click OK. Windows based application, and application has to be from executable file. We need to browse. This one should be from still available in C, Windows, System 32, calculator. Click OK. Now we created a application, right? Okay, application has been created. Next, what we are doing, we are trying to create a element. First we will launch it. Yes, it has been launched. Now we need to create a element, right? For all these buttons, so if you want to automate this calculator, what we need to do, for all these buttons we need to create a element, and we need to create a actions, right? Each and every element we need to spy, and we need to create a element for that. Instead of that, we can, wherever if you have same properties for multiple elements, we can go for dynamic attribute, and we can go for parameter. So now how to do that? Just observe this. Just I will give the name as dynamic attribute. Identify anyone, you can take anyone here. For example, first one I have taken. Click and sorry, identify control. Okay, it captured all the properties, right? Okay, it has been captured all the properties. Here, what will be the change if you want to identify this one unique thing? If you try to highlight, it will try to highlight more than one element, right? More than one matching element found. So to overcome this, what we are trying to do, we are going to click on ordinal, right? If you click ordinal, then so we can able to identify individually. Observe this highlight. Yes, but instead of this, if you do this, each and every button you need to create a separate element, right? Instead of this, what we can go for is, observe this here match type, go for dynamic. And when you click on a dynamic, see this one is disabled, one is disabled. It will behave as a dynamically, so based on your requirement. Okay, so now click apply, and then okay. Now We created element. Then how to use that element here? Now observe this. Right click, rename, launch. First thing is we need to launch. Use navigate, give the link, double click on this. Okay, we have launched. So next is we need to, for example, we need to click on some 7 or some 8. Okay, button 7 and use navigate, give the link, double click on this, use dynamic attribute and button 7, right? So what is the number for this button 7? 1, 2, 3. 3 is the number for button 7. Come to this here. We use dynamic, right? What you need to perform? Press and observe this parameter, right? Parameter. Here click on this parameter. Observe this, what it is asking. Give me the value. If you give 3, it will pick 3. If you give 7, so it will pick 7, ordinal 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one. So if you give 8, 9, then it will pick 8 here. If you give 5 here, then so far 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will pick 1. So like that, so it is going to identify individually. So now, first it has been launched. If I try to run this, observe this 7, right? So if you want to, click on 4 next. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is the ordinal for this, right? Again I can use the action button 4. Click OK. Again I will use navigate, double click on this, again use dynamic. When we are using dynamic, so attribute, everything we are going to use dynamic attribute only, and then we are going to change, only the change will be value. This parameter value we are going to change it, that's it. So now, based on the parameter value, it is going to pick the things. It is work based on that behavior. So remember, wherever you have the same properties for multiple elements, so this, now it has clicked on F4. So what is the advantage of this? No need to spy for each and every element here, because all are same properties. No need to do it for each and everything. So that's the advantage of dynamic. You can try this also. Dynamic attribute, and then we are going to use parameter value. Understood, right? So how to work with a dynamic attribute and then parameter. Okay. So here, because all are same. For example, in any portal, if you observe, first name, last name, full name will be there. All will be the same. All the properties will be the same. So but you need to use different things. In that case, so we have to use attribute, dynamic attribute, and then we can use a ordinal button. So that's how we can reduce our work. So we can use, no need to spy each and every n number of things, right? So that's the advantage of dynamic attribute. So you can try this also. Okay. So now, what are the things we discussed today? So I will give back the control to you. So we'll take the control. Okay. Now here, discussed about dynamic attribute and how to use parameter here. When to use this one? So if you have same properties for multiple elements or multiple objects, we have to use parameter. And then dynamic attribute. So what is the advantage of this? So we can so reduce our work. Okay, so what are the things we discussed today? So we work with a browser based application, right? So if you want to work with browser based application, what is the default thing we need to check? So in IE we have to work with Internet Explorer, and Internet Explorer zoom should be 100%. Remember this. If you go to Internet Explorer, here you will have an option called settings, zoom. See this? Zoom should be 100%. If your zoom is more than 100% or less than 100%, it will not spy properly. HTML mode will not work properly if your zoom is more than or so less than 100%. And so at the same time, so for the browser based application, what is your default mode? HTML mode. Win32 is your default mode for Windows application. HTML mode is your default mode for browser based application. And so one more thing we need to check, your screen resolution should be 100% or recommended. If you observe here in this, right click, see this, personalize, some display settings, something, just a minute. Not here. See this? So this one 100% is recommended, right? Screen resolution recommended. See this, screen resolution should be recommended or 100%. So cross check this one. So before implementing your browser based application, and then the remaining things are the same options. So dynamic, and before doing that, what we need to do, we need to go through that application first. So then only we can able to understand what all the things we need to create elements and what all the actions we need to create. So where you need to click mouse click, where you need to use wait option, and then where you need to pick the data. So all these things we can able to. That's why before going to that, first what we need to do is we need to go through that application. Then we can able to understand properly. So how to implement that. Okay. So in next class we will see one live application. So how to work with that. So then you will understand more clearly. So how it will be useful in a real time. So in real scenarios. Okay. So any questions here in this class? Okay, so here, so what you have to do is, so just as usual, how we are going to create a application the same way. Observe this.